The instrument that you played almost revolutionized rock bands, I guess, in a way.
I think to a certain extent, yes.
Describe it.
70 tape recorders, all in playback, one under each note of the piano.
70, say that again.
So it's like 70 tape recorders that cannot record but can play back. So for every note, yeah. Well, this is a Mark 400, and that's only half a Mellotron, really.
So that's a Mark 400?
Yeah, which was developed later to to try and bring the price down and get it out to every Tom, Dick, and Harry sort of thing.
It's a Mellotron?
Yeah, the Mellotron.
Mellotron.
Yeah, it was developed actually originally by a man called Chamberlain in Northern California, and he invented the machine. And that machine and that idea was taken over to England by someone and developed there and became the Mellotron.
What did you think when you first saw it?
I was absolutely amazed because this was being made in a factory that was 2 miles from my house.
2 miles from
yeah,
your house.
and I opened up the newspaper one day and they said wanted person with some electronic experience and musical experience. So.
Hey, you dude.
Off I went. Hello. Here's my card.
I've got a little bit of that.
And they took me in and showed me this machine and showed me how it worked. And
you said, that's what I've been wanting.
I'm home. This is the job for me.
Did that change anything you've done? I realize it changed the music as far, but did it change your thought process? Did you say, oh, now I can do this?
It was very much now I can do this, you see, because I have no formal musical training at all.
I don't like to hear that. I'd like to hear that you people worked so hard when you were young.
Well, I worked hard, but it was in a different way. It was not an academic thing,
So you'd learned the piano from Dad and from teachers, or just from
Dad?
No,
from Dad. I had a piano teacher for about 6 weeks. And,
6 weeks?
Yeah, by that time, though, I was already going da-da-da-da-da-da, I was already doing that, and she wanted me to go da-da-da-da-da-da-da, do the scales.
You didn't do that?
It lasted 6 weeks.
Did you have a metronome?
No.
Didn't have a metronome.
No.
I spent 2 years with a flute, and I never made anything.
Did you get
had
close?
6 weeks with a... and you're sitting there. Jeanette, how are you?
Fine.
Would you like to have a question for Mr. Pinder?
Oh, yes, I would. Thank you.
Go right ahead.
Well, I'm a big fan of yours, and I'd really like to first thank you for all the enjoyment and pleasure you've given me over the years, and welcome back and looking forward to your new CD.
Thank you.
I'm really a big fan of A Question of Balance, and I was wondering maybe if you can give me your thoughts behind Melancholy Man that you wrote that's on the disc.
Thoughts behind that was not the fact that I was melancholy in the true sense of the word. I was using it as a sadness for humanity, for what was really happening to people, and I was melancholy from that point of view that not enough people was getting the message as far as I was concerned. That there's a brighter future, a greater hope. Humanity has a greater destiny than to become consumers of goods. That kind of approach was what really led me to do Melancholy Man. It was partly my own frustration too of seeing the possibilities for humankind and seeing how slow things were taking off, and any step in the right direction always seemed to be followed by 2 steps in the wrong direction, either by government or some idiot somewhere like Manson, those kind of things. That was really the basis behind it, and I was really trying to say that there's a split in people, in the way they think and the way they live, and there's a difference, and even though we all tend to look the same, and we are all the same inside, it all really depends on the frame of mind of each individual, and if we could all get tuned in to the deeper parts, the deeper roots of our real humanity, that's where we'd find the peace of mind that everyone really deep down seems to be looking for.
That was Melancholy Man.
Yes.
That seems to be a song that has stayed with you for a long. The way you described it just then, that's not just a song that you wrote. That was something that tremendous amount of feeling about. Were there other songs like that you wrote that made you be introspective?
Yes, My Song was another one. Thinking is the best way to travel was another one. Dawn is a Feeling. Almost everything that I wrote came from that same well, you know. I mean, when I go for my inspiration, I go to a well and I drink.
Did you find yourself sometimes amazed and say, gee, I didn't know I wrote that? Do you ever write something?
Well, I'm
and
not
then...
sure whether I wrote this or not, you know. I mean, I feel a little bit sometimes like it's not really me. It's just part of me that is part of us. It's part of all of us, that we're all connected at some deeper level. Even though we seem to be separate individuals, we're all actually connected. Carl Jung said it best, I think, and along with Joseph Campbell. You know, he called it Jung called it the collective unconscious.
The collective unconscious.
And that's, if you will, it's almost like one giant candle with many wicks. And all we see is the flames of the little of the wicks, but we're actually all one candle.
Then where's my residual check?
It's in the mail.
Do you... I have a couple of questions I have to throw at you. And that was one of them. Really, it was. Who did the heavy breathing on My Song? There.
Yes.
That answered that question.
That was me.
I don't know who asked that one, but they had to do it. I know that you recited Graham's poetry on Days of Future Past. Did Graham do all of his poetry reading on later albums, or is some of it you? And what about on Higher and Higher?
Most of the poetry reading was read by me. Graham wrote all of the poetry, did a great job. In Search of the Lost Chord was one that Graham did. That's the one where he said to help us to find, and then broke into this incredible laughter, which was spontaneous, by the way. It just struck him as being funny. I think that he was actually saying something like this. And then we did a collective poem where all of us spoke, and it was, Justin said something like, I think, therefore I am. And someone else said something else, and someone else said something else, and then I ended up saying, there you go, man, stay as cool as you can, and a whole bunch of things like that, and keep on thinking free. That was a collective poem, but then all of the other things I actually spoke, but I was the only one really willing to do it.
Why?
I used to do most of the announcing on stage, too, but, I mean, they've all learned to do it now since I've not been there.
Were they reticent to do it? Were they just holding back? They didn't want to?
Yeah, it was just something, you know, it's nice to hide behind a big bass guitar, you know.
I've noticed that in a lot of
flute.
groups, that you're on the stage and you're wild and you're in the music and so forth, but then when that stops and there's something else, even though it is part of entertaining, there is a classic, I don't know if I can speak just in front of people. I can play my guitar and dance and sing, but I don't know if I can talk to people. And what you're pointing at is that was true with a lot of the other guys from the Moody Blues, other than you. Because other groups do the same thing.
That's true.
And you had that ability to do that. Well, that's why you're...
Well, I forced myself to do it. Someone had to do it, you know. Really.
That was it. So they kept looking around and found nobody went up there, and you decided to go up there. Did it happen that way?
Well, they would always find something to do, you know, at the end of the song. I've got to...
You're wired, don't forget.
Oh, yes.
That's all right. Say it. That's all right.
You know, I've got to turn the amplifier down. I've got to check my string and everything, and I'm sitting there stuck on a thing like this, with a microphone like this.
So they said, well, you got the microphone. You say something. Did you ever come across it? And one of the things I loved, I want to get into that in a minute. When you guys first started out, keyboard, you'd go and play in a club, and they would have pianos there. Am I correct?
Right.
Excellent pianos, right?
Excellent piano.
Every one of them tuned.
My favorite ones were the ones with all of the ivories missing or burnt with cigarettes. And I would cut my fingers, you know, after going a little few rock and roll trills like that, you know, there'd be blood all over the keyboards.
They'd cut the legs off of the piano to fit it on the stage or something, and
it was more to try and transport our own piano. Eventually it got so bad that it was a case of, well, how you know, can I buy a piano that's small enough to fit in a Volkswagen van, and small enough for us to be able to carry up and down stairs into you know, clubs and the like.